Namaskar, Sat Shri Akal. Thank you very much for coming to this panel. Very happy, we are very, very proud that in this such an important event, Indian Mobile Congress 2023, we are the first panel which is being conducted here. So really it is a proud moment. It also shows the kind of importance which is being given to the skilling in this country. We have got a very beautiful topic for today's panel discussion. The topic is unlocking the potential of telecom, skilling for connected world. Actually, it is two topics which are interlinked. So the most important part is that as we are seeing, telecom is growing in the nation, and from a time when, in 1,000 houses there used to be only one telephone available, now, we have got almost 85% teledensity. This change actually is causing a lot of opportunities, and we want to really discuss today how we can really unlock full potential of telecom in this country. Also, we are talking skilling for the connected world. That means the way Pradhan Mantri Modi announced last year that, in Bharat 6G, we'll be leading the world with our technology. So for that purpose, we have to not only train manpower for India, but also for the rest of the world. So we have got very, very strong, very big and great panel today. All the people who are the topmost in this field, they are part of the panel today. So I'll request them to please come on the dais. Mr. Atul Tiwari, who is the Secretary, MSDE, Dr. Kalsi. Dr. Kalsi is the chairman for NCVT, again the biggest person, biggest name we all know. Mr. Pankaj Mahendru, who is the chairman of ICA. Then we have got a panelist from Germany, Mr. Carsten, who is also a very strong academia background. As you all know that all India's universities, engineering colleges and basically diploma colleges, they all come under AICT. So we have got Vice Chairman of AICT, Dr. Jere. I'll request him to join. And from industry, we have got Ms. Priyanka Anand, who is again Ericsson, one of our biggest partner in CSR. She's also with us. And I'll be your moderator for the day. Thank you. Yes, as I was telling, and most of us were today at the inauguration of IMC when Prime Minister Modi, he had a visit at the stalls, and also I think he had a very, very powerful speech, and he also gave us great direction as far as countries focus on telecom technology, and also satellite technology, all those areas, and how as a nation we have to really take a leap, and maybe in the next 1 or 2 decades, I think we should be the largest exporter of telecom technology. As he was mentioning, that there was a time in 2014 when we were very large importer of handsets. Majority of it was being imported. Today, we are the second largest exporter of handset. So in 2 years, we are already 11% 5G user of the world. We are having a teledensity of 85%, 1.17 billion customers. And also, we have recently got a report launched, report prepared, which we'll be launching today. That is by Drop. They have come out with statistics that as far as India is concerned, we'll be needing 11.59 million. That is the number of people who are required in telecom field, out of which almost 2.95 will be working in corporate, and 8.04 million will be working in support functions. And there is already a demand gap of 2.4 million in skilling. So a lot of people need to be reskilled, upskilled, or we have to bring people from outside. And one of the reasons that we need so much work on skilling is because telecom as a industry has been supplier of very good manpower at young levels to other industries. Like for example, logistics have got a lot of people from sales background who are working in telecom because they have been very, very aggressive in their sales and those kind of activities. Then we also have people who are now working on EV. They have been working in handset industry. So that way, telecom has been supplying manpower to the other industry. So without taking much time, because we have got such a great speakers here, so I'll like to maybe have first question to the biggest boss in skilling, the biggest bureaucrat in the skilling field, Mr. Atul Tiwari. So I'd like to understand from Mr. Tiwari that while, uh, he's giving a lot of focus on uh, skilling and telecom sector also, like a lot of pushes there. But in his opinion, what are the major thing, which are expected from industry, especially from apprenticeship point of view, NAF's point of view, or, like even the training which is happening within the industry, how that should be bring in the main framework of Skill India Digital, what we talk.
Uh, Thank you very much, the esteemed panelist, particularly Dr. Kalsi sir. Baliji, you asked a very relevant question. You know, the skilling, the telecom sector is such a huge sector with so much of potential for growing, and it is growing as well. And they are big players also in the telecom sector. And their job roles are also very specialized and very niche, I would say, job roles. And there is a need for a continuous skilling upgradation of this sector as well. Our Skill India mission is, the foundation of the Skill India mission is that we provide skills to the young people, the skills which are required by the industry. So the first and foremost in our skilling ecosystem is the demand for skilling or competencies by the industries concerned. And for the benefit of others, the Telecom Sector Skill Council seeks to represent the telecom industry. And they have been instrumental in getting a lot of qualification frameworks, qualification packs ready. And they also provide the trainers and also do the assessment. And it is here that through the Telecom Sector Skill Council and also otherwise, we have been reaching out to the industry. At this moment when 4G, 5G, 6G is what are the skilling, reskilling, upskilling requirements and how we can bring them under the qualification framework, which our regulator NCVT does. Second is that we also require the industries to come forward to give space for the on-the-job training and also for internship and further for apprenticeship as well. And we have been reaching out to the industry also for having some center of excellence and some kind of CSR activities so that our existing labs and skilling centers are equipped with the modern skilling infrastructure as well. And we would like to work with the telecom industry, and as you would remember, we had a meeting with the telecom secretary last year, November, where we had together telecom ministry and ourselves. We laid down the whole roadmap for that, and I'm very happy to say that we have been moving quite strongly on that direction. And whether it is the Center of Excellence is concerned, whether skilling is concerned, whether apprenticeship is concerned, but certainly there is a huge requirement, and I would say that industry should come forward for giving more apprenticeship, internship opportunities to our skilling youth. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Definitely, I think the kind of guidance and support we get from you to TSSC is really great, and the reason and the way you have come for this great event for us is also really highly appreciated, sir. I know how busy you are and so many sectors you look after. Thank you very much, sir. Dr. Kalsi, like you actually don't need any introduction because you are the person uh, who is probably an authority on almost any subject today. Like I see all the presentation, all the information what you share with us, not only on telecom, but I think across industry, that is really superb. And you are a person who has brought a lot of changes, and I think it is very, very visible changes in the whole system, and whole industry talks about that. And one of the pet project I think you had was credit framework, right? So we like to hear from you about credit framework, what are its benefits, because most of the industry still doesn't know much about it.
Thank you, Bali Sahab. Esteemed panelists, Mr. Atul Tiwari, other panelists. Basically, Government of India brought the National Education Policy 2020 that came in July 2020, and the National Credit Framework is an instrument through which the policy is being implemented. The NCRF provides that all kinds of learning, whatever learning you are doing, can be creditized. So if somebody is working in the telecom sector scale, and whatever he learns, either formally or informally, now that can be creditized and can be converted into a certification. That is the basic provision of the National Credit Framework. What it does, it will allow skilling to be integrated with education at each level. That means you can integrate your telecom skills at the level of school education, right, in 10th class, 11th class, 12th class. Similarly, if you look at the value chain of the telecom industry, most of the time we only talk about the services side of it. But you have telecom enabled services, telecom service provider, now which is absolutely the base level on which rest everything is going to run. Even the digital India is running on the telecom services. If there are no telecom services, there is no internet, and there is no internet, there is no digital economy at all. So telecom is the basis on which everything runs. So you have telecom service providers, then you have telecom enabled services and service providers, then you have network managed services. Then there's a huge opportunity as far as your passive infrastructure is concerned. And this passive infrastructure, right from your towers, your cables, coaxial cables, your base transmission stations, your antennas, your batteries, their design, their commissioning, their repair maintenance, all that is a very big area. Similarly, manufacturing the equipment as well as the handset. And then comes their repair and maintenance. So it's the entire ecosystem. And this ecosystem has skilling requirements at every level. Whether you talk about a totally illiterate person, or you talk about a person who is 10th pass or 12th pass, or a person who is an engineer or a diploma holder, or a person who is in IIT and doing cutting edge research. For everyone, there is a role in telecom sector. And telecom sector cuts across all other sectors, all other services, and that is why the multiplier effect of telecom sector is much, much higher. In last 3 years alone, the amount of data which is getting transferred on the network has grown by 7 times. So it's more than 32,000 petabytes of data in 2023 as compared to minuscule amount in 2018. Last 3-4 years, the data has grown by 7 times. Similarly, you look at the internet connections. Today, if 116 crore people have some kind of a mobile with them, out of those, 83, 84 crore people, they have internet connection of some kind. They may not be having all smartphones, but they are able to perform some of the basic transactions, say for example, UPI. Last month, the total UPI transaction, digital transaction in the country was to the tune of 16 lakh crores. That means if you multiply it by 12, you have about 190, 200 lakh crore. Our total budget, national budget is 40 lakh crore. That means in 1 year, you are taking that budget 5 times over. You are circulating that budget 5 times. So that is the impact which communication can create. So the entire digital network is running on that. So we have to have modernization of this network. When 5G is coming, 6G is coming, all the devices, all the underneath infrastructure for carrying this 5G and 6G is getting renewed. And this is where we would need manpower. I was talking to some of the service providers and I asked them, how many people per square kilometer would you need for 5G and 4G? Now, if you go from 4G to 5G, your cell area will reduce. It will go down. And therefore, you will need more people. But when I talk about commissioning of 5G and manufacturing of the equipment required for 5G, and then design of that equipment required for 5G, the requirement of manpower will go exponentially high. And that is what we have to think about. And now is the time when we design for this, when we provision for this. So all the engineering colleges, all polytechnics, as well as the entire skilling ecosystem will have to look at the manpower requirement. He mentioned that 22 million people are required in the telecom sector in the next few years' time. 22 million. 2.2 crore log chahiye aapko. So that means for about every 50 people, you need one person जो उसके टेलीकॉम और उससे रिलेटेड सारी सर्विसेज को देखे. So that is the potential which telecom sector has. So I think this is one of the greatest multiplier and we must plan for it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. So we also have Mr. Pankaj Mahendru, who is chairman for Indian Cellular and Electronic Association. And that is not his complete introduction. He is also secretary for Telecom Sector Skill Council for the last 10 years. I think he has been the force behind the success of Telecom Sector Skill Council. And Pankaj, we see Mr. Modi being very, very passionate about India. You are another person in our friend circle, we know that you are so passionate about India and India growth story. So I'd like to hear from you what changes we need to bring to further go to another level or another orbit of skilling.
Thank you, Arvind. I really don't deserve those kind words. I think I'm definitely not in a self-congratulatory mood because I think it's just the beginning of what we've set out to do. Let me tell you some of the achievements in the mobile handset industry, what Arvind was alluding to. We have grown about 1800% in manufacturing in the last 6 years. Thank you. So we were at a mere $2.5 billion and now we are at $44 billion. We are the third largest exporters, not the second largest exporter. Export, we touched 90,000 crores last year and we are doubling every year. So, but I think it won't double this year. We'll be about 150,000 crores. What I like to do is that I like to expand this a little bit. And I think you are going to get very disappointed when you say 22 million. I've just been traveling to Japan and Taiwan and some other countries, and the decline in population is frightening. Uh, it's really frightening. And what we see in North America is a new phenomena called the Great Resignation, which is people not wanting to go and work in plants and this thing. So, and the whole world is now trying to do the disengagement from our neighboring country in terms of supply chains, and especially in this sensitive area. So, and this is, I also want to advise the secretary that we'll have to be the supplier of manpower to the whole world now, actually. The US has started the CHIPS Act, which is the core of telecom and electronics and the digital industry. They'll need 100,000 to 200,000 people in the semiconductor industry. And believe me, the young American is not wanting to put a space suit on and get into zero moisture in a fabrication unit. He wants to do IT services, law, etc. But these hard jobs, and the they call it a hard job, working in a semiconductor fab is considered a hard job now, right? Which is air conditioned, excellent environment, but it's a tough job. You have to work 10, 12 hours. So I think the whole paradigm is going to shift. We will have to supply manpower to North America, Europe, uh, Taiwan, Japan, all these countries, because they don't have enough people now. And in certain industries, the how much you could mechanize has also hit a plateau. So I think that's one very important challenge, and it's a great opportunity actually. We have been suppliers of manpower to rest of the world. We already have 60, 70 million people working outside India, uh, which is one major sort of invisible export of our country. So this is the first thing. The second is that never in the history of India have such uh, challenges been taken up. I just told you what the growth has been in mobile phone manufacturing, and you would say that, you know, the leadership would be very satisfied with what has been achieved. But the target for the next 26, in fact, we are aiming to hit $120 billion. That is another 2.5 times increase, and a 300% increase in electronics. That's just in 3 years. So these, multiple growth vision is something which India has never seen before. So one very important challenge is the availability of skilled manpower. The very fortunate thing which we notice is that we think that China is the most optimized manufacturing nation in the world. Apple has set up very large plants in India, three very large plants. And we are absolutely astounded that within 6 weeks, 8 weeks, young girls, 18, 19-year-old, are bringing manufacturing standards, quality standards, rejections better than China within 8 weeks, 10 weeks. This is absolutely unique, which it has not been seen anywhere in the world, such rapid increase. So it makes it less challenging that this huge supply of manpower, which is going to be there, uh, I call them the PhDs of India, the poor, hungry, and desperate people. The hunger that they are showing and the innovativeness that they're showing, I think, is a very, very big plus. And I think I'm very happy to have Priyanka on my side, that she will, give us the real story on what is happening on the ground as far as the industry is concerned. I think this demographic dividend and passion dividend, I call it the passion dividend, is something which the world has started noticing. especially when the global value chains are coming, the lead firms are coming here, the new lead firms. And this is a very rapid transition which is happening because the world is moving away from our neighboring country in a very systematic manner. So I'm extremely optimistic about the future. I think you have to scale up your aspirations 2.5 times, because in the next decade we have to supply a lot of people to the world and build our own infrastructure and industry here.
Thank you, Pankaj. I think you always inspire to do us better and better, and definitely I think we'll always come to your expectation. And also, I think we always look to your speech. Every time there is something new, like PhD is a new term we have all heard from him. Pankaj, I think in next round, आपका जो एक शेयर होता है, that I think we would like to listen in the next round. Coming to Ms. Priyanka Anand, Ericsson is, very few people know that, is more than 100-year-old company in India. They are also one of the biggest supporter to Telecom Sector Scale Council. We have come out various CSR projects with them, and last year we did, rather this year we have completed one project with them at Delhi Scale University, which is like a center of excellence where 7 live labs have come. And that was so much appreciated in a complete Ericsson ecosystem that 2 of their board members came and they visited it and wrote very, very good remarks about the whole thing. So really very thankful about it. So Priyanka, you represent the industry. And also in telecom, as we are all hearing, that there was a time when telecom was electronics, mainly electronics, right? And also we were not so strong in electronic manufacturing. Now India has caught up and we have become very strong on electronics. But more than that, as we are moving from 4G to 5G and 5G to 6G, I think telecom is becoming more software driven and more need of software is there. So how do you see this change? And as Ericsson or local technology supplying situation, how you see India in next decade?
It's a great question. And like you said, it's been a great partnership with TSSC. And we've had a full view of what we need to do. Sorry. No problem. I think I was just listening to 2 conversations at the same time. But hopefully I've gotten your question well. No problems at all, Pankaj. It's fine. So again, in my mind, there are 3 things I will come forward with. Number one, it's quite clear that we are no longer going to be lagging behind when it comes to being technology leaders in the telecom space. And a big speech from our Prime Minister today was indicating that we've always been lagging behind till 3G. Come 4G, we accelerated. Come 5G, we've set a record of having the fastest deployment across the globe. And then come 6G, we want to be the leaders. We want to be somebody who's paving the way forward, not just by implementing, but also building the product for the needs. And like you said, we have a huge amount of focus now as industry to see how can we just not look at adoption, but also look at production, look at creating the right level of competence and skills that's needed to be able to accelerate that growth. So first thing is quite clear that the 5G deployment happened clearly because there was a huge amount of Make in India focus. But we also made sure that at every single stage, we are partnering heavily with the government and with the operators to make sure that that deployment is being leveraged in the right intent and spirit. And when I look at this whole adoption, it clearly happened because we had cutting edge focus on creating technology which was the market leader. And that's what we've ended up doing. Then second thing, of course, to get the technology to work for the benefit of the society, of the nation, is to have the right people standing behind the technology, which is what I heard even Mr. Pankaj talk about, right? It's quite clear that the world is getting talent starved. We don't have the people standing behind both building the technology and then deploying the technology. So here what we've really done is, in a big way, we've managed to build a bit of that ecosystem where we're partnering with lots of universities, and this whole industry-academia partnership becomes extremely critical. Unless that partnership accelerates, we will always be in a catch-up mode. And with that acceleration, it's not just about talking about technologies, but working hand in glove with the academia to make sure that we are taking learnings and making sure that their learning moves from theoretical to more practical in the universities, creating skill labs in various universities. And we saw a big testimony today again in the morning with those partnerships. We've also made sure that we are co-creating curriculum with the universities. We're making sure that all of us are coming together as an industry to be able to bring that value to the last mile, which is the student today, which becomes the workforce of the future, right? And then digitalization becomes a very big way forward to be able to accelerate that. So deploying 5G and being able to deploy 338,000 radio sites is what we deployed in 1 year alone across Bharti and Jio in India, and we accelerated the whole 5G adoption. That only happened because we were able to scale the skill that we needed with the partnerships, and of course by being able to build that technology landscape within the whole organization that we are working with, right? So all I would end up by saying is that what's very important now to recognize is that the pace is going to be much faster than ever before. And to be able to capitalize on that pace, we will have to invest in both Make in India, but also Reskill India, and Reskill India ahead of the world, and make sure that we have mentors and the industry coming and working with the government and with the academia to get the skill gap to be bridged in a very, very effective manner. On top of it, like you said, we are continuing to invest in students who are both underprivileged, but also with the leading universities, a combination of both. And when we make those investments, it's quite clear that you see the benefit coming out because we've been able to adopt those changes in ways that have accelerated our growth. And the last thing I would then end up saying is, at any given point in time, we are no longer going to be a potential global scale hub for the whole world. We already are one. We are innovating for the world. We are delivering to the world already now. The global skill scale hub is already a badge of honor we have. And like you said, Pankaj, we are ready to be able to export that potential, not just our manufacturing capability, but also our skill capability. But to bring value is where we have to start becoming far more visible. Just doing the tactical part of the job, which is doing the foundational level, is no longer our ambition. We want to be thought leaders, we want to be innovators, we want to be the creators of what the world can leverage on. So the whole digital payment is just one small example. When we become thought leaders, we can clearly create a very unparalleled success story in any industry. And likewise, coming to telecom, technology, academia, we can become thought leaders in every way possible. We just have to dream, desire, and then work towards it. And that's what the Global Scale Skill Hub will really end up delivering to the world, not just India, and that should be our ambition in a much more accelerated manner.
Thank you. Thank you, Priyanka. Very, very good comments from your side. Carsten, I think you come with, I think, multiple dimensions for this panel. One, like you see India from Germany. Secondly, you yourself have been in academia, and now, like you are doing a lot of work on skilling. And most important for us is that you are now working very, very strongly India as a focus country. So I like to, or rather our viewers like to hear from you, what India should do, because as Pankaj was also saying, there's a big demand world over for Indian youth, right? So if we have to supply our trained manpower, especially at workers level, what change is required? What additional we should do to make it happen? Everybody desires that. We should become a big exporter of our trained manpower for the world. So what are your guidance and suggestions?
Yeah, thanks, Arnott, for having me here on the panel. Yeah, maybe giving you a German perspective on that. I totally agree with my other panelists, and that India has a prosperous future before or in the future. And indeed, a lot of Indian people are coming all right now to Germany as there is a lack of skilled workforce. Right now, it's more focused on IT specialists. However, we need also engineering capabilities. And I think that's the next step we are looking at. And that's also our aim of the German Academy of Digital Education, to bring some engineering knowledge from Germany to India, because I see that there is a lack of German knowledge presented here in India, a lot of from UK and also US, Canada, but Germany is not present but a lot of technology fields. Germany is a leader, and we are quite well known for our dual education system, that we have the strong relationship between industry and academia. Industry takes care for educate or skill their people. We have a system where apprenticeship is paid for 3 years, and then you have the great chance to enter the industry company. They send you to a vocational training school, and that's, I think, a great advantage that we have these strong relationships, because then the apprentice here gets to know hands-on training and what is needed in the industry. So he has a very good feeling of what is needed, and so also the skilling, the training itself has a much higher impact. It's not only theory, he knows exactly why he's learning it, because then he is part also of the company and gives some benefit to the company. I'm very positively surprised how the mood in India is here, also being in the conference, and the ambitious goals and aims. So that really motivates myself also to be here. And that's why I have the feeling that India is on a very good way. Yeah.
Thank you, Carsten. Thank you very much for your very, very sweet words for our loving country. Dr. Jerry, I think we have heard you many times, very, very impressive speaker. And also, the best thing about you, Dr. Jerry, that you are like very well connected in the education system. And also, there is a new education policy as per that skilling has become part of it. Now, I know the vision is that with education, skilling should play a very, very big role, big part. But somehow I think it is taking time to take off. So what is your experience and what is your advice and guidance how we should look into it?
Thank you, Arvindji. So you've asked a really big question, and I think that question Kalsi sir would be far better to address, because he is actually combining skilling and education in a most appropriate way. But okay, I will give my 2 cents. When it comes to telecom sector, we as AICT, All India Council for Technical Education, we are also doing a lot of steps. This year itself, we have actually launched a program, a BTech program in advanced telecommunication systems, which has been now adopted by more than 100 institutions. So we have around, I think, around 15,000 seats where we have given approvals where students can actually join those programs. So that's a big step when it comes to actually creating really skilled manpower, higher end manpower, because it's a BTech program. Apart from that, apart from being vice chairman for AICT, I also wear a hat as chief innovation officer for Ministry of Education. And here Priyanka ji and others were talking about innovation and entrepreneurship and how we can actually just not focus on skilling, but having skilled manpower which can really innovate, take it to the next orbit. That was the phrase which was used. And I will be very happy to share with you that for last actually 6 years, we are pushing a lot of innovation and entrepreneurial mindset within our educational institutes. I don't know whether you're aware, but we do Smart India Hackathon. And Smart India Hackathon has now become world's biggest hackathon. So almost, if you really, I'm currently in the process of hosting this 2023 Smart India Hackathon, and we have around 2,500 institutions participating. After 2 rounds of screening, the number of teams which have come to us are around 27,000 plus, and we are still, the deadline is there. We are expecting some 40,000 teams. Each team has around 8 members. So you do the math. And that is after 2 rounds of screening, you know. So about the rough estimate is around somewhere around 2 million students participated in the first round, you know. But if you really look at the hackathons which we do and the projects and the solutions which are coming out of it, they are mostly telecom based, you know, telecom based, database, IoT. Means the telecom is the horizontal, irrespective of whether they are building an application for agriculture or education or, you know, healthcare. The telecom is the horizontal which is currently there. So it's a good place for all the people sitting here to actually look for talent, because and I will actually invite them to check at Smart India Hackathon and visit those centers. It's a physical hackathon which we do out there. Apart from that, just to push innovation and entrepreneurship culture, we have done something very, very unique, and it's a very homegrown kind of a model where we have established Institute Innovation Councils, what we are saying IICs, in about 7,500 institutions. And these IICs, what they do is that they are responsible for building innovation culture within our educational institutes. And they actually on monthly basis do initiatives. We give them calendar of initiatives which they have to do, and they have to perform those. And we will ensure that if they perform those activities for 2 years, then that innovation ecosystem will get established within our educational institutions. So what I would like to convey from this 2, 3, and many such aspects, it's considering the paucity of time. What I would like to say here is that I would like to invite the telecom players, partners, and actually Kalsi sir talked about different partners which are there, to join hand. And we can be a vehicle for them to reach out to tier 2, tier 3 institutions where the real talent is there, and PhD which he called about the real hunger is not in our premier institutions, but in our tier 2, tier 3 institutions. And we can help them in actually reaching out there and fetch good talent. And then I will assure you there is no paucity of talent in this country.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. And I think all the good things which we are hearing from you, Dr. Kalsi and Mr. Atul Tiwari, are friends from DOT, DDG, Skill Development, and other team who are here. Will be very happy that in telecom skilling, good work is happening. So Pankaj, our topic is unlocking the potential of telecom. So what is your view? Like, are we actually doing enough for that? Or there are some points from your side that, okay, these are the things we do so that we can really unlock the full potential?
You know, we have achieved dramatic results since you wanted a couplet from me. So I'll just say that मंजिलों से आगे मंजिल तलाश कर मिल गया है दरिया तो समंदर तलाश कर. You know, we are giving data at 9 cents. You know, you'll feel very jealous because it's just 9 cents per GB. Right? So you can consume as much as you want here. Right? I'm not sure what is it on the roaming. So that's a very big achievement. Right? So the foundation has been laid down. We have very competitive terminals industry, handset industry also, very, very competitive. Now, have we done enough? No, we have not, because, you know, we've not built our own digital this thing. I think what I'll take out of this meeting is what Priyanka said actually, that we have to move on to innovation and design and so on. What China has been able to do in digital industry is remarkable. Although UPI is the 8th wonder of the world, what we've done with UPI is going to be emulated by the rest of the world. But our digital companies are, it's a little uncomfortable to say that, but they are mostly Western companies, including Ericsson and so on. So we have to develop our homegrown countries in data services also. That's very important because it gives us a platform which is really critical for us. And that is why it is not percolating down, although Google, Meta, etc. are trying very hard, but we'll have to build our own set of very strong domestic companies. That's the first thing. The second is that the application specific ICs. We have not realized, because we are so Western focused, we have not realized over the last 10 years what has been acquired by our neighboring country. I just did a matrix of 62 ASICs verticals. And in 57, there was not a single Western company left. We mapped the top 10 companies in each, right? And the world is moving to application specific ICs. So that is at the core, and that is not going to come unless what Priyanka said happens. That these will be not people working as contractors, but these will be people who are creating the designs and the products. And we have very few of those companies at the moment. So this is where we have to inject innovation. And Doctor, this was a very well kept secret. These 7,000 innovation centers, I mean, please tell us more about it. We are very hungry to learn more about it.
So thank you, Pankaj, and I think very, very good point. I also remember this year I was part of the Department of Telecom delegation to Mobile World Congress, and there in our area, Make in India booth, maximum foreign delegations they were coming, and it was mostly from Africa or some of the Southeast Asian countries. They wanted two things: UPI, Aadhaar. Like they wanted that whom should we talk to get those technologies, and I think DoT captured those requirements and ultimately brought it to the country. Carsten, coming back to you again, we are having a very important part of our discussion is that, we should do skilling for the connected world, right? So, what is changing? What is changing in the sense that from classroom training to digital training, there is a big focus. Do you really believe that most of the skilling, at least in ICT sector, can be given through digital platforms?
Yes, definitely. As we are offering such kind of courses, I have to say that, but I'm convinced of that. Because, you can integrate theory on one hand and also practical application on the other hand. Nowadays, virtual reality technologies are developing so fast, it's getting more and more real. So everyone can get the experience in a virtual world. And that's what he can then do in a lab at a university, for example, in practice in a person-to-person situation. So because of digitalization, you have the chance to get a huge spread out of the knowledge. And it is a prerequisite, that's what we see, then to have it in a real experience. So from my point of view, it is possible. And you have a huge outreach in every area of the world.
Thank you. Thanks.
It's a very important mindset change we have to embrace. Because digitalization, if it starts to marry the whole upskilling mindset, we can almost extrapolate the amount of successes we can really get to our credit. To me, I think this whole mindset about digitalized ways of learning helps us create more customized, more bespoke, more accelerated learning opportunities for people. We can also leverage experts sitting anywhere in the world to come and upskill our people. And a lot of times we believe the only way to learn is to have a face-to-face interaction. It's really not needed. And the whole world proved it, Just during the whole COVID era, we continue to do everything virtually. If the world could operate virtually, then why can't learning happen virtually? So from the upskilling from the school to the corporates to the universities to even the governments have to leverage digitalization. On top of it, the moment you start digitalize ways of learning, you create more collaboration, create more learning opportunities on cutting edge technologies, and also create a more unified world, which is a part of our Prime Minister's vision as well, because you're learning in a diverse setup. So to me, the way to go and accelerate the whole learning journey is by having digitalized ways of learning become the name of the game. There's no other way of us accelerating that.
Thank you. Mr. Tiwari has to leave for another meeting, but before that, I'll request him to please sum up for us discussion and guidance so that, like we take up.
Thank you, Mr. Bali. First of all, I would like to congratulate you for a very varied panelists. So we have from the companies, association, regulators, and also digital, what shall I say, learning provider, which is from Germany. A lot of things have been said about, and I can sense that I need to speak loudly what the government has been trying to do. Once again, to emphasize the point so that whatever all we have said can be brought on that framework for further action. First of all, I would say that there is, as Dr. Kalsi was saying, national education policy, and there is a credit and the curriculum framework. And as Mrs. Anand was saying about the courses being designed, as Mr. Jere knows about the AICT colleges. So the first of all requirement is that whatever curriculum which we have, and there is a framework and mechanism for that, whether it is in the school education, on higher education or ITIs, how do we bring an awareness or some amount of skilling courses so that that can be given as a part of the educational curriculum. And in this regard, NCVT, our regulator, and Telecom Sector Skill Councils, they've already designed different courses which can be taken as per the credit in the engineering colleges and as well as the schools and other general colleges as well. And this under the National Education Policy, under the guidance of Honorable Prime Minister, and under the constant supervision of our Honorable Minister, Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan, and MOS, Mr. Rajiv Chandrasekhar, we are constantly going towards that, and there is a digital system which is being created where the student registry, right from the Balvatika days till the higher education, NSQF, skill qualification, higher education qualification, credit, academic bank of credit, everything is being linked together, so much so. And as Mr. Bali was saying about the Skill India Digital, Madam, I would request all the panelists here, not from the government, but certainly you three, to have a look at the Skill India Digital, which is a platform where all these things will be provided. And we have a JobX. I request Ericsson and other companies, you also, sir, you can also talk to us and see how we can bring even the paid courses also on the Skill India Digital framework. And to my mind, this is going to be this will bring a sea change, a paradigm shift in the way skilling has been looked after. For long, the skilling has been considered as a poor cousin, or not a very, very poor cousin of normal education system. And under the guidance of the National Education Policy and our Honorable Minister, that the first time that the skilling and education are being brought together on this curriculum framework and the credit framework. And I'm very proud to say that just now, a few days back, we gave a convocation to ITI graduates, just to bring into line in the guidance of our Honorable Prime Minister, that the people who are from the ITIs also, they also deserve the recognition. At that time, the UGC, AICT, and NCVT regulator was also present. So point I'm trying to say is that the skilling is very important. In the changing landscape of India, the skilling is getting more and more important. And our education system, which creates a chunk of the largest number of these students, flow and stock kind of a method. So that is also they are trying to bring in the skilling part. So we'd encourage the industry to come forward and engage with AICT in case they want to have a customized skilling courses, which can be part of the curriculum. Yes, sir, we will be able to do that. If you require any short scan skilling, which can be given creditized, yes, we're very much willing to do it. So having skilling courses small is one side, but getting it as a part of the general curriculum is the most important part. And that is where it is happening. So we'll encourage industry for design their courses, share your learning thing if we can give it for the other people to do it. If we have some paid courses, upskilling courses, please come and engage with us in Skill India Digital. We like to take it forward and bring it more in line with that. So this is what we have been looking after. And to give for the record-wise, the Telecom Sector Skill Council, we have already given them around 10,000 target for all the 5G things. There was a question about the rural kind of skilling. What should we do about the rural point? Dr. Kalsi has already approved the Gramin Udyami project. So we have, it's a multi-skilling project, multi-skilling course. So where they will splice this and that. So, and they have already gone ahead. And in the northeastern India, we have got the mobile skilling vans there. So they can go into the remotest part of India and train this youth in how to handle the 5G and other technology business. So we are very upbeat about this. And as we see the PLI scheme and such other schemes coming up, lot of investment going into the telecom area, we are gung-ho. We are very happy with the blessings of, he is my regulator, so I have to appease him and keep him happy. So with his constant support and encouragement and the cooperation from the AICTE and UGC, that we are going to bring all these 5G things which are going to make a skill very important as part of our ecosystem. And finally, about the international skilling, sir, we have made the NSDC International, which is a company. We already sent 26,000 people in the other countries. We just sent nurses to Finland. We are sending to Canada, UK, and you name it. We have 18 countries. We have got the demand supply study done, including Germany. We have set up German learning schools in India. We have a Japanese learning schools in Gurgaon, and our kids are passing it and going abroad and getting a good jobs abroad also. So it's here like they will require the telecom companies, if they have such a wide network of international consortium, we'd like them to tell us through their sources what will be the job requirements, the skill requirement there. Under the G20 also, under the Indian leadership, the first time historically, we have agreed on the skill gap study among the G20 countries. And we are working with the OECD and ILO so that we have a whole system, database of which are the skilling requirement in which country, and so that we can send them together. And our NCVT is already working on the national NCO. The qualification, how the qualifications can be brought together, internationalized. So I would like to assure and tell the audience here and the panelists that we are here, Mr. Jere, Dr. Kalsi, and myself, is the invitation of Mr. Bali, who is an old industry hand, with the hope that today's discussion and how the way we are talking and explain the skilling area will do much, much more in the telecom for skilling. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thanks a lot. And I think your presence here and Dr. Kalsi's presence and all the panelists, I think it motivates us a lot. And there's so much to do in skilling ecosystem. And I think your management, your overall push definitely helps us a lot and will do much better. So while you are here, we'd like to take this great opportunity. We have come out with a skill gap report on telecom. It is done by Drop. So we'd like you and Dr. Kalsi and everyone to really inaugurate. Yeah. So we'd like to present some mementos. Sumit, please come. Sir, my colleague Sumit Munjal. So we'd like to give some memento for the day. Mr. Sumit Munjal will present to you. May I now request Gaurav? Yeah. Dr. Kalsi. Praveen. Pankaj. Please. Sudhir. Parul. ये किनके हैं? प्रियंका प्रियंका आप तो तेरे वालों में आ गए So, to Dr. Jerry.